Hello and welcome to another video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we'll be looking at the Championship preview and predictions for this weekend. Another great round of action after a brilliant couple of days of football in the midweek for the Championship as well. And today we'll be looking at Saturday and Sunday's fixtures. I hope you enjoy. If you do, feel free to leave a like, and I hope you enjoy. Aston Villa will be taking on Bristol City, two sides that are going very well indeed. Fifth place, you find Aston Villa, who have won all of their last 5 games in a row. And have actually won 7 league games in a row now after their 2-1 win over Rotherham in midweek on Wednesday. That was a very good 3 points indeed, especially after being down to 10 men, and they will be without Tyrone Mings, which will be very difficult. But they've beaten, in this run, they've beaten Sheffield Wednesday, they've beaten Blackburn, they've beaten Middlesbrough, they've beaten Nottingham Forest, Birmingham and Derby County. Bristol City, they're having a very good run themselves. They find themselves in 6th place, 1 point behind Aston Villa with a game in hand. They have won 3 of their last 5 games, beating most recently West Brom. That was at one finished 3-2 after Bristol City started on fire and were 3 goals up very quickly. They had 2 draws with Wigan and Ipswich, and then 2 wins. Sheffield United, that was a great win, and Middlesbrough as well, both away from home. This one, it could go either way. I'm really interested to see how this one goes. I'm sort of disappointed that this game wasn't selected for any sort of game, like you'd expect this one to be on TV is what I mean. That one never come to fruition. 2 games on this weekend, but this one isn't chosen. Aston Villa are in very good form, but they will miss Tyrone Mings, who will be out. But still, they managed to get the win over Rotherham. And I think this one will be a draw. I think this one will be a draw because they'll be out of Tyrone Mings. Bristol City are going well themselves, and I think they will draw this one. So I'm going to go 2-2. I'm expecting a high-scoring game there, 2 goals apiece. Next, we have Derby County versus Bolton Wanderers. Derby County are in 8th place. 1 win, 3 draws and 1 defeat in their last 5 games, and they have started to come away from those playoff positions, which is really disappointing for Frank Lampard's team. They are 5 points off Bristol City, who have played the same amount of games, which is disappointing. Bolton, they are going down. They are very much looking forward to next season now. There's no doubt about it. Bolton are going to get relegated. After their 2-1 win over QPR, there's a bit of hope, but 2 defeats in a row to Ipswich. That's a horrible defeat to bottom of the league, and then a 2-0 defeat to Middlesbrough on, I think that was Tuesday, and that really has sealed their fate a little bit. I don't think they're going to get out of it now, and they were taking on Derby County, who'll be looking to bounce back. The last time these two played against any team at home, they won 6-1. That was Rotherham, who are also in a similar situation to Bolton. Now I'm going to say a similar situation here. I think Derby will hammer Bolton. Poor old Bolton. I think it'll be 4-0. Derby County getting the victory, and they're keeping their playoff hopes alive, really. Ipswich will be taking on Birmingham, and I believe they need to win today to end up not getting relegated, which is difficult. I think they can get 42 points if they win all of their games remaining. Wigan are on 41, as are Reading and Millwall, so they're very close to being relegated. They'll be taking on a Birmingham side who have, after a rough patch of 5 defeats in a row, they beat Leeds at the weekend, and then also got a very good draw against Sheffield United, which is a very good 4 points picked up there this week. They'll be taking on Ipswich, who have won just 1 of their last 5 games, beating Bolton 2-1. They also picked up 2 draws to Forest and to Bristol City. So they will be a little bit, full of confidence that they could get maybe a draw, because they have drawn a few games. Bristol City are going very well, Forest are going okay, but I still think that this one will end in a draw or a defeat to Ipswich, because there's no way that they'll stay up. They've only won 4 games all season. That's half the amount that any other team have won. It's been a really difficult season for Ipswich Town. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go one apiece, and that would confirm Ipswich's relegation to League One, which would be very disappointing for the Tractor Boys. Next, Middlesbrough will be taking on Hull. Middlesbrough won in midweek, beaten Bolton 2-0 after 5 defeats in a row. But despite that, they are still the team with the best defence, only conceding 36 goals all season. Despite their losing run of 5 games, they're still 2 goals in front of Sheffield United, which is absolutely amazing. Amazing stat. Hull have won their last 3 games in a row after a difficult run of form that's seen them rise to 9th. They beat Ipswich, they beat Reading, and they beat Wigan. 3 sides that are struggling down the bottom. And that is why I think Middlesbrough will get the win. I think Middlesbrough will get the win there at home. They're playing Hull, who have only won against lower league teams. So I'm not sure how this one will go, but I'm going to go for a Middlesbrough win. I'm going to go 2-1 to Middlesbrough. Next, we have Nottingham Forest versus Blackburn. Forest, looks like their hopes of the playoffs are over. They are now 8 points behind Bristol City, who have a game in hand over them. So I think they're over now after 2 defeats in a row, losing to Sheffield Wednesday 3-0 and to Rotherham 2-1. And I think they'll finish around mid-table now, which is disappointing for Martin O'Neill. But I think they'll spend big in the summer and try and get promoted next season. They'll be taking on Blackburn, who won against Notts Forest's rivals in Derby County. They've won 2 of their last 5 games, beating obviously Derby County 2-0 in midweek, and also beating Wigan 3-0. But defeats to Stoke, to Aston Villa, and to Sheffield Wednesday. I think this one will be tough. I'm going to go for a draw. I think this one will be 0-0. I think that there's not a lot between the sides, only 7 points in it. And I think that this one will be a draw. I'm going to go Nottingham Forest 0, Blackburn 0. Next, we have QPR versus Swansea. And QPR, despite sacking their manager, have lost 1 game and drew 1 game since Steve McLaren left. They're in terrible run of form with 2 points picked up from the last 15 available. They'll be taking on Swansea side, who have won their last 3 games in a row, beating Stoke 3-1, beating Middlesbrough 3-1, and beating Brentford 3-0. So very good form from the Swans, and I don't see any reason why they can't go to QPR and win. And I think that's what they'll do. I'm going to go QPR 1, Swansea 2. And Swansea could go as high as 10th with a victory, which would be very, very good indeed for the Swansea. Next, Reading versus Brentford. So Reading are down there. They are in 20th place, 2 points ahead of Rotherham. Brentford, they're mid-table now. They have won 1 of their last 5 games, beating Ipswich 2-0 and then 2 draws against Derby County and Wigan in their last 5 games. Reading, they're starting to pick up some good points. They've had 2 draws, one of which was a great draw against Norwich. The other one was against Stoke, a win against Preston. And I think that Reading will beat Brentford this weekend. I think that they'll win because their home form is starting to pick up. They're picking up some good points. That Norwich draw was very good, and that allowed them momentum. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Reading, which would really ease their relegation worries. I'm going to go Reading 2, Brentford 0. Sheffield United are next up, and they'll be taking on Millwall. Millwall, at a point yesterday, were in the relegation zone, but now they are 19th after a draw with QPR. They've won 2, drawn 1, and lost 2 of their last 5 games. Sheffield United are going very well themselves. 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat. That defeat to Bristol City, and a draw to Birmingham. So they're going okay. They are 1 point behind Leeds. Leeds take on Sheffield Wednesday at the weekend. That'll be tough. So Sheffield United, they're playing at 3 o'clock. Leeds don't kick off until 5:30. So that's a chance for them to really go in front and try and get back their advantage. I think Sheffield United will have a tough game against Millwall, but I think they will win, just about similar to Leeds. I think it will be a tough game, but I think that they'll get the victory. I'm going to go 2-1 to Sheffield United, and that would return them maybe temporarily to 2nd place. Stoke are taking on Rotherham. Stoke are in 15th place, 1-1. drew 3 and lost one of their last 5 games. That was to Swansea, win against Blackburn, and then 3 draws, 3-0 draws. Rotherham, they took a lead against Aston Villa but ended up on the wrong side of a defeat. 2-1 that one finished. 2 wins in the last 5 games to Nottingham Forest and to QPR. I really hope they stay up. I don't want them to go down. I don't really want them or Wigan to go down because they've only just come up. So I'm hoping one of them gets to safety. If not both of them, I'd like to see both of them get to safety. But I think Stoke will have too much for Rotherham. I'm going to go 1-0 to Stoke, with Stoke getting the victory. They could, they need to start building a momentum for next season, so hopefully they can get the victory there. The final 3 o'clock game is West Brom versus Preston. West Brom are in 4th place, having lost 2 games in a row after 3 straight wins for their temporary manager, beating Swansea 3-0, beating Brentford 1-0 and beating Birmingham 3-2, and then 2 defeats to Millwall and to Bristol City. They take on Preston, who are in 11th, and they are on a bad run themselves. 3 straight defeats to Reading, to Sheffield United and to Leeds, so they have slipped down the table as well. West Brom have looked pretty decent at home under their new temporary manager, so I think that they'll have enough. I'm going to go 2-1 to West Brom, but they need to sort this sort of blip out, because if they don't, then they could be fighting for fighting for the top 6. They want to finish really 4th. They won't catch the top 3. There's no doubt about it. But they don't want to. They want to have second leg advantage at home. They're good at home, and I think that's what they need to do. They don't want to get dragged into 5th or 6th, because they'll be playing away in the second leg in the playoffs. Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday is the final Saturday game. Sheffield Wednesday are in fine form, 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat in their last 5 games. That was to Aston Villa. Leeds have won 3, lost 2, losing to Sheffield United and to Birmingham. And Leeds will be playing after Sheffield United play, so they could find themselves in 3rd place, and it'll be a very tough game against a very, very well drilled Sheffield Wednesday team. Norwich are playing on Sunday, so they could cut the gap if they were to win to 3 points, which would drag Norwich back in, especially if they were to lose against Wigan. I'm going to go for Leeds to win this one 2-0. I think that they'll have enough to beat Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going 2-0 to Leeds. The Sunday game is Wigan versus Norwich. Wigan are in 21st place and have a tough game. Only won 1 of their last 5 games, beating Bolton, who are below them. 2 draws to Brentford and to Bristol City. A very good point to Bristol City, and then 2 defeats to Hull and to Blackburn. Labour taking on Norwich, who have won 4 and drawn 1 of their last 5 games. That late equaliser by Reading stopped them going even further on this unbeaten run. Absolutely fantastic Norwich have been in recent weeks, and they could go on to 88 points, which would be fantastic, and they are definitely going to return to the Premier League. They have been fantastic and thoroughly deserve to be promoted. I think that they'll beat Wigan. I think it'll be comfortable. I'm going to go 3-1 to Norwich. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't already, feel free to leave your predictions in the comments. There will be a list of everything there. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. I would really appreciate it. But thank you so much for watching regardless. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.